Why are people so dang mean? The secret history of hurt. When someone kicks you for no good reason, you know that feeling. It's a gut punch. It's when your partner, out of the blue, just ghosts you or says something so cruel it takes your breath away. It's that coworker who constantly throws you under the bus in meetings, or the so-called friend who starts nasty rumors about your kid. It's getting ripped off by someone you trusted. The pain is bad enough. It's a sharp, stinging hurt. But then, something else kicks in. And honestly, this part is almost worse. Your brain starts spinning. You're just confused, totally baffled. You sit there, staring at the wall, thinking, why? What did I do? What is wrong with that person? Are people just naturally terrible? What the heck is up with human nature? This mental loop-de-loop, this desperate need to figure out the why, adds a whole new layer of misery on top of the original hurt. It's like getting a cut and then constantly picking at the scab. The injury itself is one thing. The obsession with how it happened is another. We can't rest. We need an answer. We need it to make sense. The golden rule of jerks: all meanness is hand-me-down meanness. So how do we quiet the crazy-making questions in our heads? We can lean on a simple-sounding idea, a real aha moment that changes everything. All cruelty is a hand-me-down. Think about it like a messed-up family heirloom. The meanness we see today, the snide comment in the grocery checkout line, the boss power-tripping in a boardroom, the brutal text message from a lover, the online troll spewing hate, it's never, ever a brand new thing. It's not created from nothing. By a kind of law of psychological recycling, it's always something that was, with terrifying care and precision, passed down from one person to another, like a toxic baton in the world's worst relay race. The ugliness that lands on your doorstep today is a legacy. It's an inheritance of bad treatment, violence, coldness, selfishness, and plain old indifference that came from somewhere else. It came from an angry dad, or a bitter mom, a rage-filled great aunt, or a creepy uncle who themselves got it from their own twisted grandfather or alcoholic grandmother. And you can trace that nasty thread all the way back through generations to our earliest ancestors scratching out a life in the Rift Valley, or, if you like that kind of story, getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden. The person who was cruel to you is almost never the true source of the poison. They're just the last link in a very, very long chain. They're the one who finally served you the spoiled soup, but they didn't cook it. They just reheated it. Connecting the dots, the ripple effect of pain. Let's make this real. Let's look at how these invisible chains of inherited pain show up in our everyday lives. The school bully. You see a kid, let's call him Jake, shoving another kid into a locker, calling him names, making his life a living hell. Your first thought is, what a jerk. And on the surface, he is. But if you could follow Jake home, you might see a different story. Maybe his dad never has a single word of praise for him, only criticism. You're weak. You're a disappointment. That constant put-down is a deep, festering wound. The pain and humiliation have to go somewhere. So Jake, feeling small and powerless at home, goes to school and makes someone else feel small and powerless. He's trying to pass on the hot potato of his own hurt. He's not creating new meanness, he's recycling the meanness that was dumped on him.
The flaky, unreliable friend. You have a friend, Sarah. You're going through a tough time, and you really need her. You ask for help, for just a little support, and she bails. She makes a flimsy excuse and isn't there for you. It feels like a betrayal. Why is she so selfish? But the backstory might be that when Sarah was 8, her parents went through a nasty divorce. Her dad just disappeared from her life. At a key moment, when she needed someone to step up for her, the most important man in her life vanished. She learned, deep in her bones, that people you count on will let you down, and that you're ultimately on your own. So now, as an adult, when someone gets too close or needs too much, her survival instinct kicks in. She dips out. It's not that she doesn't care about you, it's that her entire wiring tells her that showing up leads to more pain. Her inability to be reliable was inherited from the profound unreliability of her childhood. The road rager, or the rude cashier. You're driving. You make a minor mistake, and the guy in the truck next to you loses his mind. He's honking, screaming, his face purple with rage. Or you're at the store, and the cashier is snippy, rude, and dismissive for no apparent reason. It's easy to snap back, to think, "What's your problem, man?" But we never have the full script to someone else's bad day. We don't know that the guy in the truck just got laid off and is terrified about how he'll feed his family. We don't know that the cashier is working 2 jobs, just got evicted, and spent the night in a shelter. We don't know the particulars of the fathers who beat them or the mothers who ignored them, the homes that were battlefields and the nights that offered no peace. We don't need the specifics. Once we understand the underlying structure, the law of hand-me-down hurt, the logic becomes clear. Their outburst isn't really about your driving or your groceries. It's the overflow of a bucket that's been filled with other people's pain for years. They're having a reaction to a whole lifetime of stuff, and you just happen to be standing in front of them when the dam broke. A deep dive into the cycle. How the virus spreads. This isn't some new age modern phenomenon. If you look at human history, the endless wars, the genocides, the feuds, the alcoholism, the petty family dramas, you see one glaring truth. Humans have been gifting each other these toxic parcels of hatred for a very, very long time. It's the world's oldest and most destructive tradition. It's an eye for an eye logic, but on a grand, messy, multi-generational scale. He took out my eye because someone, long ago, took out his leg. She stole their land because someone, in her past, made off with her heart and her sense of security. They're killing their children in a war because someone, generations back, butchered their great-grandparents. The original wound is often forgotten, but the impulse to retaliate, to pass the pain along, lives on, mutating and growing with each handoff. This is the core of the cycle of abuse, the cycle of violence. It's a virus. A person gets infected with the virus of cruelty through neglect, abuse, trauma, or just plain meanness. The virus causes intense internal pain, and the most common, instinctive way to try and get rid of that pain is to try and infect someone else. You cough your pain onto them, hoping you'll feel better, but it rarely works that way. You just make the whole world sicker. The million-dollar question. Does understanding mean you have to forgive? This is the big one. This is where people often get the wrong idea. Let's be crystal clear. Understanding why someone is a jerk is not the same as saying what they did is okay. Not even close.
Explaining is not excusing. Tracing the path of the poison doesn't mean the person holding the bottle isn't responsible for where they pour it. Everyone, no matter what was done to them, has a power and therefore a duty to stop their inheritances. You can understand that the school bully, Jake, has a terrible home life and still hold him accountable for his actions. You can have compassion for your flaky friend, Sarah, and still tell her, "Hey, you really let me down, and that hurt." You can grasp that the road rager is drowning in stress and still think he's a dangerous idiot. This perspective doesn't take away their accountability, it actually adds to it. It means they have a choice. They are not just robots programmed by their past. They are people who have been given a script of meanness, and they have the ability to say, I'm not reading this lines anymore. The real heroes, the cycle breakers. This brings us to the most important part of the whole story. If understanding the cycle of hurt is the aha moment, then recognizing the cycle breakers is the hell yeah moment. When we see the world through this lens, we start to appreciate, with a whole new level of respect, what an absolutely extraordinary achievement it is when someone who's been on the receiving end of cruelty manages, through sheer imagination and moral muscle, not to hand that agony on to anyone else. This is the real alchemy. This is the superpower. Think about the young man who was constantly belittled and put down by his father. He was told he was stupid, worthless, and would never amount to anything. That pain is a fire in his belly. The easy thing, the almost instinctual thing, would be to have kids of his own and repeat the cycle, to make them feel small so he can finally feel big. But instead, he looks at that legacy of nastiness and says, nope, this stops with me. He makes a conscious daily choice to be patient with his children, to encourage them, to tell them he's proud of them. He turns the pain he felt into a fuel for kindness. That is a monumental act of courage. Or think about the young woman who was taunted and emotionally manipulated by her father. He played mind games, made her feel unlovable, and pitted her against her siblings. She grows up with a deep-seated mistrust of men and a temptation to lash out, to be the one in control, to torment her partners before they can hurt her. But she doesn't. She goes to therapy. She works on herself. She learns to be vulnerable. And one day, she becomes a patient, kind-hearted, and secure partner to a man who has his own vulnerabilities. She doesn't use his weaknesses against him. She helps him heal. She took the rotten ingredients of her past and baked a beautiful cake. This is what it means to use your suffering as a furnace to generate love. You take the hottest, most painful experiences of your life, and you don't throw them at others. You contain them. You let them burn away your own capacity for causing that same pain, and you use the heat to warm the people around you. Your turn, the biggest opportunity of your life. So, where does this leave you? When you're the one lying awake at night, smarting from a fresh wound, confused and hurting, remember the chain. It might not take the sting away immediately, but it can quiet the maddening why loop in your head. The answer to why are they like this is almost always because someone was like that to them first.
This knowledge is a tool. It's a shield against taking their meanness personally. It helps you see that their behavior is a reflection of their inner world, their history, their unhealed wounds, not a verdict on your worth. But more importantly, this knowledge places you in a position of incredible power. You now see the mechanism of the world's pain clearly, and that means you can choose to be a gear that changes its direction. The single biggest opportunity any of us will ever have to change history is not usually on a grand global stage. It's in our everyday interactions. It's in the moment you choose not to snap back at your kid after a stressful day at work. It's in the decision to be kind to a rude stranger, effectively disarming their meanness. It's in the courage to end a toxic family pattern, even when it's hard. Being a cycle breaker is the most profound legacy you can leave. It's saying the inheritance of hurt ends here. The legacy of love starts with me. You might not get a medal for it, but you will have done something more powerful than any world leader or conqueror. You will have added a little more light to a world that desperately needs it. And you will have changed the future for everyone who comes after you.